ladies and gentlemen, to the LCS studios here in Cologne, Germany. It is just about time for the second Spring Series Challenger Finals, a best-of-3 battle between the Ninjas in Pyjamas and Departed.
And it's great to have the best Challenger teams in Europe up on stage with a chance to play in front of their fans.
And of course, that means the Challenger Series playoff picture is ever clearer after yesterday's third-place matchup between Never Give Up and Reason Gaming.
Yeah, Reason Gaming, they've swept through the third-place match, which leaves tonight's final as the last unfinished business for the second Spring Series.
And as always in the Challenger Series, it is the points that matter most. And today's matchup will have a tremendous effect on the standings and the seedings for the playoffs.
Yeah, but not for the Ninjas in Pyjamas, because they're sitting safely in first place with no chance to be caught. They're guaranteed a first round bye in the Challenger Series playoffs that start next week. On the other hand, if Departed can take down the Ninjas, they will lock in 12 points and overtake Cloud9 Eclipse for second place and a second playoff bye. However, if it's NIP that walks away with the win, it will force a one-game playoff between Departed and Cloud9 Eclipse. So tonight's final will have a major impact on the Challenger Series postseason and who eventually advances to the summer promotion tournament and a shot at many more games on the LCS stage.
So now that you know what's on the line, let's get to the game. The second Challenger Series finals, Ninjas in Pyjamas versus Departed. And coming into this game, if you haven't followed the Challenger Series, you would immediately believe that NIP are the favorites. But Departed, they've recorded some important results on their road to the finals, taking down the winners of the first spring season, Cloud9 Eclipse 2-0.
Yeah, 3 members of Departed also participated in the first Spring Series, Kikis, Nick and Woolite. Only then they were known as Pulse, and they got knocked out in the quarterfinals by actually Cloud9 Eclipse. And now, they not only got revenge actually by knocking out Cloud9 in the quarterfinal, this time around they have a chance of overtaking them in the points, in the standings as well, and snatching away the first round bye in the playoffs.
And after they lost to Cloud9 Eclipse in the first Challenger Series, they were not only changed their name to Departed, they changed 2 members of their team, adding a new support, Perm, and top laner, Babunia. Yeah, Babunia has yet to lose a game in the Challenger Series as a member of Departed, as they've simply just swashed 4 Nexuses and won the 5th game by a forfeit. And Babunia went where he pleased in the top lane during their sweep of Cloud9 Eclipse. He played Mundo in both games and went 6-6 and 24. But the 2 stars of Departed have been their mid laner Nick and the AD carry Woolite. Woolite has been a beast, especially on Lucian, playing him in 3 of the 5 games. Overall, he stepped up his game in this second Challenger Series and is second on the team with a KDA of 7.4, sorry. But the KDA leader for the team so far is the mid laner Nick. And he put up huge numbers against Cloud9 Eclipse, and he got his revenge going 11-2 and 18 in the 2 games. Overall, he's picked 5 different champions in the 5 games, and in the 4 games that ended with a broken Nexus, he's having a KDA of 8.1. Well, we'll see how this works out, because while the players may not be familiar with Woolite or Nick, most people will recognize the Ninjas in Pyjamas. This is the second straight Challenger Series finals, and this time around, they're hoping to walk away with a title instead of second place finish. If you were to take a big stage experience as a factor, and it is so often at this level, you would immediately put NIP down as favorites for this match. Not only did their jungler Hulberto, I should get his name right to start with, sub in for Gambit Gaming earlier this year in the LCS, but fellow Gambit in Pyjamas members Zorozero, Nukeduck and NIP teammate Mithy all competed in Season 3 World Championships for the Lemon Dogs. And the stage, well, it doesn't get any bigger than that.
And just like when he was a member of Lemon Dogs, Nukeduck continues to be the driving force for NIP. He's considered by many pros to be one of the best mid laners in the game. And when he stopped in for Gambit back in Week 6, he went 7-2 and 3 against some of the best mid laners we have here in Europe. And Nick, he's going to have his hands full tonight, that's for sure. But the star for NIP and the most deadly player in the Challenger Series is the AD carry Freeze. He's the only original ninja left actually on the squad, and he has the highest KDA in the second European Spring Series at 18. And as we get into tonight's game, keep your focus on the bot lane, as NIP's AD carry, support and jungler have either secured an assist or given up a first blood in all 5 of their games in this series.
And while the Ninjas will be out for blood, the title and a return trip to the LCS, Departed is trying to become the latest Polish team to earn a spot in the Pro League.
Departed is a full Polish team. I don't think they have any star player. They're good and they have some team play, so we just have to play well. We don't have to like focus on shutting anyone down.
Yeah, I know they're a really strong team. The players been in the LCS already, and they're really experienced, but we can beat them.
They played a lot of matches, and I think they're a really good team. I think we can finally win offline.
They're not that known of the team, like there are 5 solo queue players from Poland who came together and luckily for them qualified for the final.
We had to beat other teams, for example, Cloud9 European team.
Like we haven't lost one map through the whole Cold League, the second one.
Hulberto is a new addition to their team. I don't think he has the experience yet to outjungle me.
I played with Gambit as their sub. I think that's a good advantage.
We can't see in LCS Rocket. We saw in LCS MIM. I hope we will join the LCS too.
Some lofty goals there for Departed. And why not dream? You know, Babunia said himself, he's never actually lost a single game for Departed, so why start now?
Yeah, and so Zorozero needs to be careful. He was saying they were lucky to qualify for the finals. I would definitely not say it if you actually win every single game.
Cocky play. Let's check out those starting lineups. On the blue side, it is Ninjas in Pyjamas. That means in the top lane, it is Zorozero, who many considered still to be the top player in Europe right now. Hulberto is in the jungle. Nukeduck's in that mid lane. Freeze as the AD carry, and Mithy in support.
And on the red side, we have Departed with Babunia in the top lane, Kikis is the jungler, Nick 760 is the mid laner, Woolite is AD carry, and of course Perm is the support.
Yeah, we're going to keep to Nick, I think, for this game as well. We'll stick to that one. We'll see how it works out. I'm pretty sure he used to play alongside Celiva 360. I'm pretty sure that's where it all came from. The Polish community, these guys, I recall them in teams before. Of course, Kikis, he used to be in the old MYM before Kubon joined them. So these guys have got a lot of experience.
Can we just agree the Polish community is having a lot of good players?
They have a great deal of great teams as well.
MYM, of course.
Certainly a lot more than England.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
sure. Very true.
As do Denmark, though. I got to give you that.
Well, there's quite a lot of good Danish players. A lot of players in the LCS.
There is quite a few. What are we expecting? Picks and bans are going to get underway in just a few moments. What do we think they're going to get thrown in here?
I could definitely see an Italy ban against Nick because he's very good in these long-range poke champions. He likes to play Ziggs as well. So I could see an Italy as a possible ban. Any taking away from Perm. He loves to be the hard engaged support, of course. Thresh, both supports here like to play him. Could be a potential ban or a very early pick. And when coming into playing against NIP, it wouldn't surprise me to see a LeBlanc ban from Departed, because I'm actually not sure if Nick is even playing it. And Nukeduck, he loves to play LeBlanc.
Italy was banned away. We just saw it in the final LCS game, working very well for Jezzes, and NIP don't want to face that one down. Lulu has been taken away. Nukeduck not going to be able to play that one.
And we can actually see Departed maybe focus all their bans towards the mid lane here, because Nukeduck, Lulu of course, LeBlanc, he's loving to play it. Zed, Fizz, some of his other champions. Force him maybe on Fizz here, where with the Lich Bane nerfs in 4.4, he won't be able to rush it early, and he's going to have a harder time early on. He needs a bit more items before he can really start carrying.
And he has been taken away from Perm. There is the LeBlanc ban away from Nukeduck. Evelyn is the final ban for NIP. Thick and Farsi's bans coming through. Kikis also being taken away. The final ban for Departed was Caitlyn finally coming in there. But that was a quick insta-lock there on Kha'Zix.
Yeah, there was definitely not any thinking time for NIP. They wanted this Kha'Zix going to Hulberto. Very strong jungler, of course. We've seen it in LCS already with mixed success, but still, Hulberto wanted this Kha'Zix. It meant, however, that Lucian was left open, and with Caitlyn being banned away, it's a very standard pick, gives a very good laning phase. Sivir is open for NIP. Of course, Jinx is open for Freeze, and he's also a Draven player. So let's see what he decides to pull out against this Lucian.
Yeah, bold, open, bottom lane picks as well. Lucian and Morgana quickly locked in by Departed, which is forcing NIP to make the decision much faster.
A little bit surprised about the early Karma here, because... Oh, sorry, not the early Karma, the early Morgana, because it means NIP can pick Karma, for instance, and have a very easy laning phase. They can also pick the Thresh, of course, and have full control of the lane here. So a little bit risky to early pick Morgana, and we actually see the Thresh now coming in. And of course, Zorozero is going to get his Shyvana here. He's one of the best farmers we have in Europe when it comes to top laners, so he's going to get the farm and just go into the late game.
Well, he's going to be up against it, seemingly a Lee Sin and a Trundle, very quickly locked in once again by Departed.
And I absolutely love the Trundle pick against Shyvana. We have had it in the LCS as well, where of course Trundle can ultimate onto Shyvana when she's popping her ultimate, get the extra armor and magic resist, and it's very hard for Shyvana to actually 1v1 him. When you get the Blades Rune King, you get some tanky stats, of course, onto the Trundle here. So I like this pickup, and of course with the Lee Sin, early game pressure. You can detect Kha'Zix as well in stealth. He's still gonna have the damage reduction, but at least you can see him now. So if he's low, you can get the kill.
And Freeze locking in the Draven. Now, if
There it
I
is.
cast my mind back to the summon, he was one of the main Draven players, and he was magnificent on it.
Yeah, he is a very, very strong Draven player. There's a lot of people who respect his Draven here, so with the early lock-in again of Morgana, it's also going to mean for Freeze on Draven, he's going to have a very, with Thresh, he's going to have a very easy time just farming in the lane. They don't have to go for kills here, and in case they actually do want to go for them, once he's stacking up, he's passive, then again, onto this lane here from the party, they need to be very careful because there's a lot of damage on NIP's side.
There's a mid laner we've not seen for a while in the LCS. Ahri gets locked in for Nukeduck in that mid lane.
Well, with Ahri here for Nuke, he's really showing that with Lulu and LeBlanc being banned away, his two main champions are gone. That's why he's going for something else. He's blind picking it. I think that's why he doesn't want to go into Zed or into Fist without seeing what he's actually going to be against. That's why he's taking the most safe assassin he can play, which is Ahri at this point. We need, of course, to remember it's very important for him to land a charm to get the full amount of damage with Ahri here, so she's more reliant on hitting the skill shots.
Final pick was Ziggs for Departed. That means Nick's going to be playing that one in the mid lane, and it's also a champion that's been pretty heavily banned in the LCS recently.
Yeah, so we get this long-range poke champion onto Nick, and it's something he loves to play, and he loves to dominate his laning phase. So with this setup here from Departed, of course, mid lane-wise, Nick is going to have good time farming. He needs to be careful, however, because Ziggs can actually be overjumped by Ahri, so we need to see how he decides to play the lane here. So far, he's having Ignite, so he's going for the full aggression here, but before level 6, he's going to have so much power to actually poke onto Nukeduck. And then looking at the rest of the lanes, of course, with the Trundle against Shyvana, both of them are going to scale into the late game. I'll give it slightly to Trundle when it really comes late. Bot lane-wise, we need to see if Draven here can get the passive going and then get a kill to really start snowballing away, or if the party can actually lock him down, because if you land a binding, followed up by a gank from Lee Sin, that's one dead Draven.
Just waiting to see whether we're going to have the final choices. There is going to be a teleport on the top lane, and they actually left it to the last second. Now, that's different to the LCS rules, the transfer.
I believe it's 20 seconds before you actually have to swap, but I don't think NIP was surprised about not seeing Lucian top lane and 80 carry Trundle.
But they're going to be like, well, we're going to get Lucian top lane. This is a tough one. I'm pretty sure they knew what was happening. They're just very late on that trade, and it actually happened in the very last second. That's tricky, because if that had gone through, you're not online this time, buddies. That would have gone through, and you would have had to have played it that way.
That's true. You actually have your top laner playing Lucian.
Yeah, those admins would not mess around on this one, that's for sure. Because we are going to get underway, though. So what do you see on these two teams? Who do you give this one to?
Well, again, teleport onto Trundle in top lane, Ignite onto Shyvana. So late game-wise, split pushing advantage. As long as Trundle can actually hold Shyvana up in his lane, he can then teleport down, join his team, force a 5 against 4. So that's going to be in favor of Departed. Laning-wise, we need to put a lot of focus on Freeze and Draven, of course. Can he get the farm? And we need to see how it's going here in the mid lane. If Nick can get a lot of early pressure onto Nukeduck before he gets to level 6, so where he can actually jump onto Ziggs.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Ninjas in pajamas. You may have seen them many times before. It is Mithy on support this time around, though. And Departed, well, they are as the red team, and they are looking to have a bit of a level 1 play. And of course, with Morgana in the jungle, why not?
Yeah, I absolutely love Morgana in the jungle. Should be on support, however. But what I love with Morgana here at the level 1s is the fact you can actually fire a blind Q into the bush, and that's why we see Freeze moving out here in the river, making sure he gets some vision of them moving down as a team. And he's actually backing off too early here, so he's not spotting them yet. He only spotted Lucian so far.
The Dark Binding does start things off. They don't land anything. They followed it with the kick. Freeze is just staying off at the side, and the minute they come around that corner, he's going to be backing away. We do also see Nukeduck making his way down. He's in that little bush just behind the red buff.
Oh, firing a binding in here. If they would hit a target, they would just jump to it instantly, try and pick up the first spot here. But now NIP spotted him, so Departed backing out here. But very nice for level 1, trying something with Morgana, because they know, of course, there is no vision.
Maybe he's been watching Millennium play a little bit in the LCS, because that one's very reminiscent of how they played their opening level 1 strats, and it seemed that NIP were very much ready for this one. Nukeduck, he's got to be careful here. He's actually in a position, and Departed are going to come around this corner and fire this straight at Nukeduck's position instead. Looks like he will step away in time.
Woolite coming in here, so the rest of the team, they could still try something, at least try a binding, see if they catch on something, or maybe they want to go for the red buff of NIP here.
Well, Nukeduck's going to try and bait this one out. It's a dangerous game he's playing now, but they're not going to fire any shots. Instead, Departed do back away and return to their own jungle. Everything spawns, blue buff start for Kikis.
So looking again here at the combos, the Black Shield from Perm when it comes to the team fights against someone like Nukeduck who wants to land a charm, or the hook from Mithy, which is actually the real engage for NIP, can be very, very strong for Departed. So if they can manage to time the Black Shield when there's a charm from Nukeduck, most of NIP's engage is actually going to be on trying to flank around with Shyvana or Kha'Zix jumping into their face. And that's not ideal for them because they're not exactly swimming in CC.
We'll see how this one works out. Looks like level 2 is going to be contested here. And you can see Freeze and Mithy looking to try and start this one off. The moment that minion goes down, it should be enough to turn them in there. One more shot, and you can see they need quite a few more minions just at the moment. Of course, if that death sentence comes in, we should see Perm Black Shield in very quickly to prevent it.
Yeah, that's where Morgana is good against Thresh, because you can always Black Shield the hook, you can Black Shield the flare, Black Shield the box, of course, so all the CC Thresh can actually bring, you can stop it, and that's where Morgana is nice. However, when it comes to straight up poke damage towards each other, Thresh is a lot better with his auto attacks, of course.
Hulberto is going to be getting himself that red buff. We'll see whether he goes aggressive once he hits level 3 or whether he's going to continue farming in the jungle. We also see that Kikis has got that red buff and he's coming around towards Nukeduck already in this mid lane.
Yeah, Nick already getting some very good damage onto him to ward. I'm not sure they actually spotted him out. They didn't ping him, and here we go.
Instead, the satchel charge does catch him out there. Does manage to get the kick. No, he got it. Twin goes in towards it and he gets the first blood. Kikis with a great start. Nukeduck goes down,
yeah,
but the hook back on towards Woolite. Down the bottom here. It's going to get turned around with a dart pointing, but there's a lot of damage going on Woolite. Not going to be too happy with that one. Freeze doing a great job.
But beautiful gang in the mid lane here from Kikis. The ward didn't spot him out, so when Nukeduck was out of position, he got the satchel from Nick, knocked further into the lane. Very nice gank here. Nukeduck was waiting with his flash, but still, Kikis, he managed to land the Sonic Wave and picked up the first blood.
That forces Nukeduck to go for that second Doran's Blade, of course, going back much earlier than he'd expected. Meanwhile, Nick, we see he's gone back on himself that second Doran's Ring, along with the boots as well. So he's going to be much more mobile in that lane than Nukeduck.
And now down in the bottom lane, Freeze is getting a CS lead here early on. Of course, again, he wants to stack up his passive as much as possible. Mithy just trying to land out the hook here. Every time he can land it, they can get a few auto attacks from Freeze. It's a very good poke. And because the lane is pushed so far up, Hulberto actually coming down here just to recall, because he's ready in case Lee Sin will be there for the counter gank. So I like his movement.
Well, it seems that there's no sign of Kikis, who, of course, went in and got that first blood. Gets himself the Spirit Stone and the Longsword, going to go for that aggressive jungle item, the Spirit the Elder Lizard. Meanwhile, this top lane, well, you talked about Zorozero's farming, and he's going to have to do it very well against Babunia's Trundle.
And he needs to always be careful when they decide to fight 1v1, because again, if he builds full tank on Shyvana, it's just more stats for Trundle to steal, so he's actually forced to go into a route of more damage-wise in these, if he wants to win this fight. He could also just be building full tank and just push out the lane, and then walk down with the rest of his team and force something elsewhere.
We'll see how it works out. Pink ward going down from Kikis in that death bush around the Baron. We'll see how long that one lasts. Went down at the 5-minute mark. Kikis going for that invade, making sure he also gets the ward, and that's going to be held there just before that blue buff comes up. So that's a good ward.
Yeah, very good ward from Kikis. Actually using the first blood gold to pick up a ward and a pink ward, of course, so he gets some good vision here. And now onto this top lane, getting some damage on the store, and here we go.
Zorozero very deep in this one, and you can see that kick's going to land back on towards him. A lot of damage going down here. This could be the second kill for Departed. Have they got enough? They don't fancy the tank, and Zorozero lives to fight another day.
They got a lot of good damage onto Zorozero, holding on to his flash. However, he didn't want to use it before, because he knew if his flash is gone, Lee Sin can just return and put a lot of pressure onto him. So now Departed just want to push out this wave here, so also we can have Babunia go back and shop.
Yeah, lane tax being picked up by Kikis, making sure he gets a chunk of farm from that one. And of course, you saw Hulberto was just off down at the white there, so if they had have gone deep, it almost certainly would have been kills for NIP.
Yeah, difference in the junglers here, of course. Lee Sin is very aggressive early on. Hulberto actually missed the ward. He just walked straight through it. And this river ward, there's so many people who don't actually look at that character when they move around here, so they just walk through it, don't even notice anything. And Departed, of course, spotting him out, know the position. And Kikis early on this Lee Sin, very aggressive, good ganks early here. And now Babunia teleporting in on Zoro.
Going aggressive, and Zorozero, when he's going to burn out running, he should have the speed to back away from this one. And more importantly, there was a big minion wave which would have turned a lot of damage back on towards Babunia. Didn't fancy that one, instead just managing to farm and continue going. Went for the Vampiric Scepter on his first back, and Dragon Descent being used for Zorozero. Maybe he wasn't quite expected to take a turret hit there.
Actually very scary for me, because if the pillar had come up from Babunia, could have forced a flash away from Zoro, but he just wanted to try and clear out the wave. Gonna back off now. Ultimate, of course, is gone, but he's still having both summoners. Teleport was used by Babunia, but still, it doesn't actually matter for him, because he's just gonna stay in the lane now and farm and get ahead.
Kikis been very mobile in this jungle. He's going to come around and have another look towards Nukeduck, who's stepped a little bit too far ahead in the lane, and he may fancy this one. Explosive Satchel Charge is available, but Nukeduck this time being forced away from his own tower. Kikis is not going to land anything there, and instead it's going to be a blue buff start, or more importantly, remember, there is that ward just off the side, so they have the timer on this.
And Kikis is level 6 here to only level 5 for Hulberto, so he's a lot stronger in case a fight should happen. Trundle joining down here now. No ultimate on Zorozero. He used it to clear the wave before, so Departed can actually pick up this blue buff.
Yeah, they could try and at least outsmite it and force it away from Nukeduck, which is what they fancy. Kikis just keeping his presence known. Nobody really wants to start this one off. They have time to just keep those bombs bouncing in there. Remember, Mega Inferno bomb is also available if they go very deep on this one. There's a bomb, rattles past, catches on Hulberto. Kikis does manage to keep the damage down on this one. It is going to be a smite by Kikis. Hulberto going to get forced away from this one. Zorozero forced in towards that Tribush area. Simply bullied out by Babunia.
And Departed had full focus on just getting the blue buff because Nick was actually on the wrong side here. He could only throw bombs or throw his ultimate, of course, but he wouldn't be able to fully commit in a chase towards NIP. So they just wanted the blue buff. That's what we saw here. Beautiful coordination. The Sonic Wave from Lee Sin combined with the smite, of course, getting him this blue buff. Nukeduck, he's going to be in big issues because Nick is going to pick up the blue buff from his own jungle here, and then he can just spam the bombs away.
It's a great start for Departed, and they're continuing that invade as well. Red buff now. Kikis have the timer on everything here. Hulberto's going to come around. There is no smite this time. I tell a lie. Kikis has got the smite. He's back up off cooldown. He takes it. And well, Hulberto's just had the entire jungle tucking away from him.
Yeah, and Hulberto is still level 5. He's so far behind compared to Kikis here. Double buff Lee Sin. He can just gank everywhere he wants to. Hulberto won't be able to join in. And he's going towards this mid lane now.
Nukeduck very deep in this one, of course. Has got that Spirit Rush available to him now. Has that ultimate on Ahri, so he's got very, very mobile in this time around. And you can see quick invade coming on. Hulberto, ooh, he's gone a little deep. He's not going to get caught out in time though.
And this pink ward actually spots him running in towards the red buff. I'm not even sure if you saw it this time. He didn't ping it on the map. So the pink ward he skipped twice now, and now onto Woolite in bot lane.
Woolite getting a lot of damage this time around. Mithy using that lantern to pull Freeze in. Throws out that whirling blade, but it's not enough to take down Woolite. Just steps to the side. Aggression working well for Ninjas in Pyjamas in the bottom lane, but overall it is Departed with the advantage.
Yeah, Departed doing so well, especially around this mid lane here. Nukeduck falling behind. Hulberto not able to help him because Kikis is having full control of this area. And now Nick will pick up this blue buff so he can just spam away onto Nukeduck. Things are looking great, except for down here in the bot lane where, of course, Freeze is stacking up his adoration stack. So if he picks up a kill, he's going to get a big chunk of gold.
He's stacking up that farm as well, but Kikis is moving down here. There's a ward in that bush, but he's going to be coming deep nonetheless. He's got that kick available. If he lands the Sonic Wave, and he does manage to get it, Mithy quickly manages to catch out there. Oh, the kick coming out from Kikis. They may try and turn the aggression back around, but that Whirling Blade was just used, which is why Woolite's going aggressive. The culling coming out. Freeze having to use the barrier. He's baited him in. He's going to flash for it. Woolite gets the kill. He's going to try and dash away from Mithy. He may turn this one back around on Mithy. While it's all happening, Hulberto's come deep there very, very low. All three members. Woolite's going to be licking his lips here, trying to get the kill instead. They're going to turn it around. Nukeduck comes in. It's free farm time. Mega Inferno bomb comes out. Nukeduck gets 1. He gets 2. He gets 3. It's a triple kill for Nukeduck.
So the counter game from NIP here. Nukeduck, he moved faster down than Ziggs, who actually stayed. Only threw down his ultimate. Hit absolutely nothing. So 3 kills picked up for this Ahri, who were in issues before. Definitely not anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a problem when you let the mid laner roam and you don't follow it. Nick came down, he just threw the Mega Inferno bomb and said, that's all I'm doing. He's put a lot of damage on towards that mid turret, but giving a triple kill across to the mid laner, that's not what you want to do.
And now with double buff on Nuke here, once his ultimate is actually ready, he can try and go for a kill onto Ziggs. That's where Nick really needs to play careful and just continue farming from a distance. But yes, he got some good damage on the turret, so next time Nuke decides to roam away, he will be able to pick it up if he just stays in the lane. But he really needs to be careful though that Nuke is not getting another triple kill.
Yeah, that was a bit of a problem. I think Kikis maybe got a little overexcited with his early start there and maybe tried to snowball it in. Sometimes it is a problem. You do see with junglers especially Lee Sin drones.
Well, the gank itself was actually fine. It was more the fact that Woolite, he decided to chase up because he felt he was safe enough to get the kill here on Freeze. But it meant that the rest of the party were just so far up. And Hulberto, can you please go in and kill this pink ward?
6 minutes it's been there now, and Hulberto has walked through that bush around about 6 times in that process. We do see the Summoner's Cup being placed by Babunia, just trying to rub that in the face of Zorozero, saying you did not win this when you went to Los Angeles, and I am going to take it from you.
Now, bot lane wise again, Freeze still with the CS lead, but he did die and we had a kill onto Woolite. He got no assist in this fight before. It was actually just Nukeduck, Hulberto and Mithy picking up everything. So it simply means for Freeze, while he's ahead on farm, he's slightly now, or should at least be even in gold.
Well, Kikis puts the ward down towards that dragon. Nukeduck will be taking away those wraiths. It's not going to be a dragon engaged by any team just yet. I don't think anyone wants to leave this lane phase for a while yet. We are seeing Zorozero starting to build up a nice farm advantage over Babunia in this top lane, and now that he's got that build toward a cutlass, he's got a lot of armor on him and mobility. He's starting to cause some serious problems for Babunia.
Yeah, we need the Bedroom King onto Babunia before he can really start fighting back against this Shyvana here, but both of these top laners are going to scale so well into the late game, so they're happy for now just farming, and we have to remember to teleport onto Babunia. It means he's going to have more global pressure, and he can always join down with the rest of the team.
Well, Mithy, who we didn't really mention, also got the 3 assists for those kills down in that bottom lane. That gave him a big advantage. He had that GP10 item earlier on, now got that Sightstone and the boots on him, so he's going to be zipping around. And in terms of gold up against his lane opponent, it's actually only give him, actually he's behind, I should say. He's behind by 100 gold on Perm.
Well, the Frostfang gives quite a lot of gold actually to Morgana here along. Can always make sure to get the stacks gone because of the Tormented Soul you can put on the people. It's going to remove the stacks instantly. But up here in this top lane, Kikis just warding out. He doesn't actually want a gank. He's not having any buffs at the moment. So it could be a risky gank for him. Decides to back off for now.
Yeah, that is actually the difference. 186 gold for the Relic Shield. Meanwhile, that's Frostfang. He's got him, what, 400 gold. So that is actually one of the big differences between them so far. Babunia keeping them at bay in this top lane. Zorozero continuing to put pressure, and now looking to start farming between those towers and maybe even looking towards the golems. You can see just taking a peek towards that tri-bush, making sure there's no jungler like Kikis ready and waiting.
He needs to be careful though if he decides to go between the turrets, because the Ziggs of course can provide the ultimate while he's still in the mid lane, and when Kikis comes up there with the red buff, there's a lot of slow at least onto Zorozero and a lot of mobility for someone like Lee Sin to catch on to him. But he's actually going to ward out the red buff here, it seems, or at least just checking if it's up.
Yeah, warding it out, finding Kikis. Kikis has to use a ward of his own, and that gets quickly cleared by Zorozero. There's the red buff. They had the timer on it. They were aware that it was about to be due, but instead Zorozero doesn't want to put himself in a dangerous position.
No, and it's also because the blue buff is spawned now. Nukeduck really wants his first blue buff of the game, and with this ward here...
Well, technically it was the second blue buff of the game as well. Oh, the hook on towards Perm. Freeze is going to get exhausted though. Hasn't really got enough damage, but Woolite's got to be careful. The culling comes out. There's going to be the Mega Inferno Bomb. It's going to miss completely. Perm's in trouble. One more hit as it goes down. The Adjuration stacks are doing wonders for Freeze. He gets himself a double kill.
476 gold on the very first kill here for Freeze. A big chunk of extra gold for him, of course, also picking up the kill. And now on to Nukeduck in the mid lane.
But again, he can just Spirit Rush away from this one. The moment the Sonic Wave landed, he quickly dashed away, and Kikis had already used the Q, and he just completely floundering.
And we have to, of course, highlight the fact that Freeze took the Lantern out of the ultimate from Ziggs here, dodging it completely, and just winning the fight straight up 2v2 against the party here in the bot lane. And now NIP want to start this dragon. Kikis is nearby, but he's the only member because Nukeduck and Ziggs are moving in together.
We'll see whether he wants to use that Sonic Wave to try and get the steal here. It's got to be tempting for him, but Hulberto's doing a great job of keeping him away from this one. Don't think he's going to get close enough. That dragon will go down. Hulberto comes in, smites it, taken very low. They're going to fancy it. The Dark Point doesn't land. Kikis tries to go in and get the kill, but look at the damage from Nukeduck. Just blows him to smithereens.
Yeah, the combo from Nukeduck here, landing onto Kikis while he's actually jumping in for the kill. The Black Shield was already gone, so just instantly burst him down. Dragon and another kill for NIP.
And the pause comes in there. Of course, the DFG was picked up by Nukeduck, which is where that crazy burst came from, and that's given Nukeduck 4-1-0 now. It's a pause for Mithy currently at the moment, just wondering exactly how he survived. I think that's what it is. It's like, dude, I've got 6 assists here. I don't quite know how I'm alive still and how nobody's managed to kill me. So that's what you can see the movements is of his hand. He's like, there was lots of explosions and I didn't die. This character is clearly OP.
I agree. I don't even know what to say to this one.
Well, he stole your spot, man. You should say something.
I wouldn't actually say he stole it. I actually offered him my spot. But thank you for the lesson.
Very gracious of you. Very
Thank
gracious
you.
of you. It's like, you know what? I don't want to play for money anymore. I want to talk about the game. That was good of you.
Well, at first, you know, I wanted to be the manager, of course, and now we're talking about the game.
Well, we saw how well that went. The birds are great here. Don't worry, he gets me back soon enough. He's thinking of something here. The devious plot is see the cogs, they're just slowly working. Anything yet? Anything?
Nope.
No, just gonna sit there and wait. This one is tapping out. NIP have a good lead so far. They are 6-2 up in this game against Departed.
They're actually clapping you for the burn, really?
What do you expect when you cast an NIP game?
I am not sure. I was just expecting to cast the game.
And that's what we're going to do, because the game is unpaused. We are finally getting back into there. Don't worry. He's got 3 games to try and recall back on this one. Mithy is going to get away, and he's still trying to figure out how he didn't die in that fight, and as are we. Got away with, what, next to no health. I didn't quite catch what it was towards the end there, but it was very low nonetheless. Woolite and Perm, they've been doing as much as they can, but the Whirling Death spins on by and gets a good deal of farm as well.
And Freeze actually stayed in the lane here, so he's going to pick up even more farm. And Zorozero now onto Nicky in the mid lane.
It's not quite going to be enough, but that damage is still very big, and Zorozero using that Bilgewater Cutlass to try and burst him down. Of course, Nukeduck wasn't quite close enough to get that DFG off.
And let's see here if Hulberto is gone for the mobility boots actually early on, so he wants to be more mobile around the map, want to be able to join in for the fights here. It's of course not going to, it's going to give him less stats when it comes to the team fight itself, but with Kha'Zix, of course, with your built-in 50% damage reduction from your ultimate, you should be fine.
Look at how low that turret has gone, though. Departed coming round here. The Sonic Wave does land, but Kikis doesn't fancy following that one up. Of course, Nukeduck was stacked, ready and waiting for a fight.
Yeah, so Departed actually just want to pressure down this turret here. That's why Kikis joins in. It's just one hit there. They got the turret. Kikis making sure Nick was safe in the mid lane.
Well, that was the first turret of the game that Ninjas and Pyjamas do not get. And they have, despite being under pressure across all the lanes, seem quite happy to keep on farming. And as of yet, really haven't tried to push or contest any of those towers, despite the big advantage they've got in that bottom lane.
Well, the roam, of course, from Nukeduck was the one that cost him the turret. Now, who gone to Voidal down the mid lane.
Voidal suddenly playing. I'm not too sure whether Cloud9 Eclipse are in this finals, but nevertheless, he'd be happy to play in this game instead. Mithy does land on Woolite, but Woolite backs away from this one. And well, it wasn't really followed through by Freeze, honestly. He didn't throw out his, I'm going to tell you what it is. I can never remember the name of it. It's the one that knocks him and says it's stand aside. It is stand aside. I should have just said, well, say what you see.
And now Zorozero actually farming between the turrets. He's expecting Lee Sin to be elsewhere, because if Lee Sin goes up top lane here, and Teleport actually coming bot lane.
Teleport coming in. It's going to be Babunia. He has got the slow onto Freeze, and Freeze is not going to get away from this. Or is he? Lantern in there, but it's going to be a flash kill for Babunia. Actually, his Perma stole it in the end.
Now, meanwhile in the mid lane though, Nick actually went down to Nukeduck and Hulberto, so they should be able to take the mid turret. Hulberto already walking down bot lane here. We see the replay of the gank in here. Hulberto staying around, coming in from the side, and then Nukeduck, of course, with his jumps can go straight into Nick. If he lands the charm, there's nothing he can do here. DFG charm, good dead.
Yeah, easy kill for Nukeduck, and Hulberto simply picking up the support assist kill there. Mithy, is he going to go down? Finally, he does. Then he's, well, we'll see whether he gets another pause for that one. He'll be like, guys, this champion, it was meant to be OP. You told me it was OP. I didn't manage to win it with it.
So I'm actually not sure why Mithy decided to stay down here in the bot lane. He expected to defend the turret with Hulberto, but there's absolutely no wave clear, and it was too easy for Departed to just catch him out, get the turret, and an easy kill.
But the problem is, though, Nukeduck is 5-1-0 right now. That's a big problem. I'm not going to lie. When this guy, who even LCS players still say is one of the best mid laners in Europe, is getting this fed, going to be a big problem. You might want to try and focus that guy.
Yeah, but again, how do you actually gank an Ahri where you can jump 3 times, you also have a flash? It's going to be so hard for the Departed to actually shut him down, unless they can land a binding or get him kicked into the face of them and just instantly burst him down before you even have a chance to jump around. But it's going to be very hard.
Zorozero doing a lot of damage there. Babunia having to use his ultimate, and well, Dragon Stance, what, I can never remember the damn name.
Dragon's Descent
was used afterwards, Dragon Descent after the ultimate, so Babunia did get some good chomping down on him, but both were sat there with that Blade of the Rune King and Nukeduck. Look at this, laying in wait, ready and waiting for Nick to walk past, which is exactly what he's about to do in that mid lane.
Yeah, he's having some good vision here. He's just waiting for Kikis to actually walk in and face checking, land the charm, and nice checking here with Sonic Wave. Not taking any chances.
Ironically, I think he was trying to land the Sonic Wave on Zorozero and went, oh, I do not want, back away. Oh, the charm did land on Kikis, but he got the red buff already.
So making sure at least nothing goes wrong here for Departed side. It could have gone horribly wrong if they just walked straight into the red buff. This pink ward, however, is actually still in the river for them. So they have full vision of NIP every time they decide to move in towards this jungle area of Departed.
15 minutes it's been now so far.
Yep.
And Hulberto has passed it probably around about 15 times as well in that time scale. There is going to be a blue buff invade here, and this is exactly what NIP needs to do, trying to execute and take this one away from Nick, and that's what's going to happen. Freeze gets it. He's going to try and have to run away from this one because Departed going to chase. Is Kikis going to land that Sonic Wave? No, Lantern comes out. There's run to safety.
So good use of the Lantern here, and also good use of being so aggressive and being ahead in the bot lane for NIP. So they just move straight in, takes the blue buff. Meanwhile, Nukeduck was taking his own blue buff over there. So very good use of the map pressure from NIP side and really using the advantage they have.
This is the Screamy Morgana skin. It tends to make a bit of a howler as it backs away to base. It's a 4,000 gold advantage for Ninjas in Pyjamas. There's adjuration stacks. You talked about them earlier, how Freeze was picking up the gold. They've built a big gain here, and I think they're around about 128 right now.
He's gonna get again. If he can just continue farming here, he actually wants to get higher, of course, before he gets the next kill to get the extra bonus gold. But for him so far, already having Bloodthirster and Infinity Edge at the 21-minute mark, that's very, very scary, and he's going to do so much damage to pretty much whoever is actually going to go close to him.
Yeah, whoever he focuses on. Nukeduck's looking across the side there. Hulberto actually catches a Dark Binding. That's going to give a little bit of gold across to Perm there, but not going to be a great deal. Kikis Sonic Wave don't want to really catch on towards Nukeduck, who's hunting for kills.
And we are having an early Mikhails onto Mithy here, so in case someone should be caught up by the binding, he can use the Mikhail to cleanse it and make sure they can get away safe.
Dragon fight is going to get started off. Departed are looking for this one, but honestly, I don't feel they want to try and contest this one, but never going to do it nevertheless. Dark Binding catches on Hulberto. They go aggressive on this one. Kikis suddenly realizes he's in a bad position. Babunia caught out there. Good black shield. Mithy using the ultimate, and a lot of ultimates burnt out there. Honestly, a lot of panic buttons being hit by both these teams.
A very nice black shield from Perm, making sure the charm from Nukeduck was blocked, and also, of course, Mithy wasted his ultimates, and now it's actually part onto the Dragon.
Dragon has gone to Departed. Babunia goes deep. He's caught out a little too aggressive, and Freeze will get himself the kill there. They're going to try and push on towards this one. Zorozero fancies it, goes in towards Kikis, was kicked away. Safeguards away. Perm getting caught out. Nukeduck came around the side. Mega Inferno Bomb does not get Mithy down, and now Woolite's going to get caught out. Is it going to be enough? They're going to jump on towards it. No, not quite enough. Good explosive cast from Nick to force them away.
A very nice escape here from the 3 members from Departed, but 2 already got down here. So NIP, they didn't get the Dragon, but they got 2 kills, and Freeze picked up one of them. I believe he got around 260 bonus gold on it.
Was of course explosive satchel, not explosive cask, because Gragas is not in the game. So, Departed are farming out, and they did get that Dragon nevertheless. Very good Dragon for them. I was surprised that Freeze and the rest of NIP didn't choose to contest that one.
Well, I think they were trying to look for an engage here, but of course with the Black Shield on Perm, it's actually hard for him to start the fight. And that's why we've also Babunia zoning them away a little bit with his pillar. They didn't really feel like they could actually go in properly. That's why they were waiting for the party to actually make the engage, and once Babunia got too close, they just went ahead and killed him. The Dragon was already gone, but it simply meant from there on, they could then chase on.
Yeah, nonetheless, Nukeduck got himself yet another kill. 6-1-0 now in that mid lane up against Nick, who has yet to get started. Simply just got that assist. Mithy and Nukeduck setting up, going to try and start something in this jungle. They got that ward across just at the Wolves, so they really want to try and create a play. Nick, he may well be the prey.
At least Mithy here actually been doing a very good job on this Thresh, and we talked about in the pregame how both supporters actually like this, so like to play Thresh, but it's actually Mithy getting here because of the early Morgana.
Wow,
he found it.
19 minutes that lasted, and they only found it because he put a ward there.
At least it's gone now. That ward was definitely worth it.
Definitely worth it, and that was from the very start as well, on that very first kill that Kikis got. So very much made its money's worth. Nick is going to try and roam around here. He's keeping that mid lane farmed off, and the problem for NIP is they are trying to create plays. They're trying to put pressure on the towers, but with that Mega Inferno Bomb, you're always going to be able to clear it. Nukeduck trying to start something else there on towards Kikis, will not catch him out. But as I was mentioned, in Zorozero, he keeps putting this pressure on this top lane, but there's always that threat of Mega Inferno Bomb if he goes aggressive on Babunia.
Yeah, so what NIP can actually do is take Nukeduck and move him down in the bottom lane, because there's nobody who can 1v1 him from the Departed side, and then he can split push up Shyvana in the top lane and 3 members in the mid lane.
And that is exactly what he's going to do. It's almost like you know these guys, man. You seem to know where they're going to go. Nukeduck heading down that bottom lane. He's going to get himself a big wave of farm. Zorozero just strolling away as Babunia gets his chompers down on towards him. Of course, those orbs being thrown out from Nukeduck doing a hell of a lot of damage now that he has that DFG and Rabadon's Death Cap on there. Big chunks of ability power on both of these mid laners right now. Cooldowns, of course, for Nick.
That sounds so annoying.
It isn't annoying. Actually, so annoying that I stopped playing that skin. I was like, I've got every skin available to me, and I was like, I'm not playing that one, that's for sure. Hulberto, with the ping wards down, is going to clear out the Baron pit, and I feel that NIP are slowly choking Departed out of the game here.
The only issue for NIP is actually in the mid lane, because Draven is not exactly one who's going to push up the wave and just get a lot of hits onto the tower, because again, Ziggs is just going to wave clear all the time. Draven is never going to get close. That's the only issue for NIP here, because up in the top lane they're winning, and now Nuke onto Woolite.
Oh, he's going to get on towards him. He's not going to land the charm, but he's got enough damage nonetheless. He didn't even need a charm. Woolite just getting dropped, no problem.
Yeah, DFG and Death Cap. That's why we wanted to see him down in his bottom lane, because nobody could actually stand to his damage. And meanwhile, NIP starting this Baron. 2 members are still staying out here. Zoro and Mithy are trying to zone away Departed, but they will come in and freeze. He needs to back out.
They have to back out. He's tanking the Baron. He's taking
a lot of damage.
Hell of a lot of damage. A lot of crit hits coming out there for Freeze, which does force him away. But while they have drawn the entire team here, you can see Nukeduck. He's putting damage down on that inner turret down the bottom lane. And honestly, and the next minion wave is going to come up, and still nobody's going to get close enough to react.
And every single time, either Nukeduck or Zorozero up in the top lane is going to win these 1v1 duels. The rest of NIP can either start the Baron or try and pressure up somewhere else, because they will force the party to move a member over and going to be in a disadvantage somewhere else. But NIP actually showing that they don't expect to be able to push this turret. That's why they started the Baron instantly, even though we're only 27 minutes in.
And you got to think that maybe the likes of Millennium, Super Hot Crew, I don't know, even the Copenhagen Wolves or Rocket are going to be watching this game and really starting to use this as a scouting tool, because if they were to get in that relegation zone next week at the end of the spring split, well, these are the teams that they're going to be facing. Ninjas and Pyjamas, Departed, they're all in there. Cloud9, Eclipse. It's going to be a 6-way playoff, and that's going to be happening in, what, 3 weeks' time. And these teams are all going to be facing, trying to get in towards the LCS, and currently, they're both putting on a good show.
Yeah, Departed's early game was very strong, especially Kikis with all his ganks early on, getting a good advantage for Departed, but then NIP managed to respond, especially with the roam to the bottom lane from Nuke, where he picked up the triple kill, and then also just Nukeduck, or at least the bottom lane itself with Freeze and Mithy's been doing a good job, just getting a few kills by himself.
So Zorozero continues his farming dominance, I think I can call it, down that bottom lane. Alberto actually just tweaked the interest of Baron there. Baron taking a peek towards him, but it was Kikis that started it off with that Sonic Wave. Instead, down that bottom lane, Zorozero and Babunia are going to find themselves once again in lane together, and Zorozero continues to keep the pressure down, but it's a big farming session between these two top laners.
Yeah, but as long as Zorozero is keeping the wave around here or even closer to the base of Departed, then it's going to be very risky for Trundle to actually teleport away, because then he's going to go on towards the inhibitor turret, and you don't really want to give up a free one unless you can then win the fight, of course, and take the Baron. So as long as he keeps the wave around here, it's going to be hard for Babunia to actually move.
The confidence of Mithy. He actually didn't have anyone near him yet, threw out that death sentence towards Woolite, forced Woolite to back away, just calling his bluff there. Kikis finally comes in and takes that ping ward down, which that whole battle was all about, and you can see Hulberto waiting in the wings with Mithy trying to be used as bait. Not going to fall for it though. Departed going to stick around their own jungle.
But we do see NIP, whenever they can actually find a target, just instantly burst down with Nuke. They're just waiting around a little bit, just clearing the wards in the Baron pit here, because they can't actually push up against this heavy wave clear combo with Ziggs and Lucian, of course, from the Departed side. So they're just waiting around here, trying to see what's happening. And you see Nukeduck, his position here. You want to catch someone out, and then NIP can make a move.
Yeah, Nukeduck's been waiting in this bush for quite a while, waiting to see if Nick's going to step forward, and actually fancies taking that blue buff off him. Kikis using his sweeping lens, clearing out that tri-bush, which Hulberto is going to go back and ward up. So it is a bit of a battle of wards right now.
And you just see Zorozero and Nuke actually going to Nick.
Oh, the charm lands, that's going to be enough. Oh, and Freeze picks up that kill with the Whirling Blade.
But every time the charm is landing, followed by DFG, you're just gonna burst down everyone.
Crazy, crazy stuff. And Ninjas in Pyjamas playing with a little bit of panache there as they push in towards that mid lane. Zorozero, he's off back down the bottom, and he's gonna get his farm going on.
This is the time, however, for NIP to actually push up, but then look, Trundle just rotates to the mid lane, so 4 members here, but there's no Ziggs for the wave clear, so NIP can at least try and get a few hits onto the turret, but it's not enough.
Death sentence on Babunia, the rest of NIP thinking of reacting, and you can just see how much damage comes out of Nukeduck there. That was a single orb that blast past Babunia and just shredded around 1,000 hit points off him. That is not something that anyone on Departed can face.
But Departed, they want actually NIP to dive onto them so they can try with the Black Shield and the turrets to win the fight. But for now, just stuck between 2 turrets here, trying to wave clear the best they can.
The Cullen being used to keep the minions away from the turret, but it's not going to be enough. Freeze will finish this one down, and that is another inner turret down. Ninjas in Pyjamas slowly but surely forcing Departed back into their own nexus.
And there's a big wave coming up here in the top lane. However, it is ultimate onto Ziggs, so he's going to be able to clear it in case he wants to. But NIP now, jumping in here, will they start the Baron this time? Seems not, just backing off, making sure there's no vision from Departed.
Yeah, just clearing everything out. They're all going to go back, they're all going to go by. We'll see what they get. Zorozero is actually backing away as well in that bottom lane. Nukeduck, he's still waiting. He's still lingering. He wants to get yet another kill off the side there.
And this is just very smart by him because he's having so much damage. No matter who's actually face-checking him, he's just going to instant kill them.
Only 7-1-1 so far. Do see everybody catching into position. We are just 31 minutes into this game there. It's just a glitch in the matrix, don't worry people, that's all that's happening. At the moment, Ninjas in Pyjamas are looking at maybe starting the Baron off, but again, Kikis keeps on throwing that Sonic Wave out. Hulberto's going to take damage from the Baron there. Lantern is eventually going to get taken once he clears the wall.
But NIP, they don't even need this Baron. They can just split out in the lanes, have Nukeduck on one side, Shyvana on the other one, and then have Freeze walking off the mid lane. And just try and kill people 1v1 or 2v2 and then get the pressure that way. They don't need this Baron, so I'm not sure why they're using so much time around it.
Well, Zorozero is continuing to pressure the top and bottom lane. It is this time Hulberto getting himself some farm, and they continue the ward bait in this. Honestly, I mean, this is just NIP either A, taking their time on this one. They don't need to be pressured.
Of course.
Do see Zorozero, of course, getting the blue buff. This is a big game for both of these teams.
It is.
It is all about the challenger. Oh, Hulberto getting caught out quite well there by Kikis and Perm. But again, Mithy was there, the shield was down, and didn't take a great deal from it.
And of course, again, for NIP, yes, it's very hard to push against Ziggs, against Lucian. That's why they are so hesitant, and that's why they focus on this Baron, because they want to force him out of the base. And now they're actually starting it for real here. 4 members. Never mind, backing off once again, and it's Departed. They plays 1 ward, NIP backs off, and Departed can just keep extending the game now.
I feel like we've seen this a number of times in the LCS as well. And the teams had figured out how to deal with this situation, but Departed are playing this one cleverly. They are playing very pensive, they're sticking in their base, and they're making sure they don't get caught out, don't get picked off, because they know that's exactly what NIP are looking for.
Yeah, but NIP can just move Nukeduck up to the top lane, or in the mid lane here with 4 members, try and land a hook and a charm, and you just instant kill the first target, and there's nothing Departed can do against it. So if they just move him around, where he can actually find a pick, where they force someone from Departed to move up and actually 1v1 against him, that's why he can just find an easy target, kill them, and then NIP can get the Baron or the turrets.
Well, you can see how much those bouncing bombs are doing from Nick there. One caught Nukeduck and blasted 1/3 of his health off. So Nukeduck is still very, very squishy if he gets caught out of position. Freeze starting off the Baron, this time on his own. That's not really something you can do.
I don't know. I'm just the one big question mark at the moment. You have such a strong Ahri, you can send her up against even Trundle. She's gonna destroy him in a 1v1 scenario, put him top lane, put him to push the turrets here, keep Freeze in the mid lane, just waiting, shoving up the wave every single time. Whoever walks up top lane, Nukeduck will destroy them, force them to either go back or kill them, and then take the turret.
Yeah, why don't they go for the 1-3-1 split, which works in this situation? That's what they maybe should be doing, who knows. Instead, they're going to try and set up a gank, and Kikis has been, in fairness, checking this Baron every 5 seconds. He keeps on walking around there because he keeps taking that vision away. This time around, death sentence. Well, he dodged it. I'm not too sure whether he planned it or not. He just simply stepped to the side, and he would have gone down if that had caught.
And we actually saw Zorozero now with the team here, because NIP now, they want to just force this Baron and force Departed to actually fight them straight up 5 against 5. Good damage onto Perm before here, but he's already recalled and returning in. NIP didn't start the Baron yet, just waiting around once again. No wards for Departed in this bush here, so they don't... Well, they know they're in the bush, but they don't have any vision of them.
I feel like I've spun back to Season 2 here for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Are they CLG EU in disguise? That's the question, because they are just prancing around this Baron and not actually doing anything.
Just extending the games, Departed getting more time to farm up here. Ziggs gonna be stronger and stronger. Of course, Trundle is gonna be stronger and stronger. But NIP also feels confident their combo is better in the late game, so they don't feel there's any rush.
Well, that's exactly how they're playing. There is definitely no rush for them, that's for sure. They are going to take this Dragon down. It's going to extend that gold to a 10,000 marker at the 35-minute mark. Freeze continuing to keep those stacks on him. It's up to, I think, 80 I just saw a quick glimpse of that. And he's continuing to keep that gold going. Next kill will be his, absolutely guaranteed. They're going to give that across to him, keep that gold flowing.
And Woolite just checking. The Baron didn't get started by NIP here. Hulberto backing off again. He's been earning a lot of money killing these wards actually in the Baron pit. So NIP once again back at the Baron. Down here in the bottom lane you have Trundle with teleport of course. So he's going to be able to join the fight in case something happens. And now this red buff. Let's see if we can actually have a fight or if someone is just going to back off.
They're going to back off. They're going to... Oh, didn't quite get stolen away. Freeze got it instead there with a spinning axe. Instead, Hulberto does try and keep them away, and that's exactly where they wanted that red buff to go. NIP choking out the jungle of their opponents and choking out the crowd in the same time.
Well, it's just a slow and safe game for NIP here, and it might actually end up hurting them in the end. If the party can just continue farming, we get to the point where you have these 4, 5, 6 items, then the team fight's going to be very, very close. And obviously that's what the party is waiting for, because they are so far behind in gold. So they just want to continue farming. They don't mind NIP doing what they're doing now.
One can only hope. Departed are in their turtle shells, and they are working well. And we've seen this with Ziggs before. It is very hard to push up against them. But I feel the NIP are not even attempting to push against them right now. We're almost getting into a stalemate situation where nobody wants to go aggressive. This time around, Baron is being started off, and NIP have a good defensive line. They will get it here. You can see Nukeduck off the side here. He's actually playing defensive duties, keeping Kikis away. They will finally close this one out, and now we may see aggression. Mithy goes in, gets caught with the Dark Binding. Kikis is going to back off, but it's a Baron for NIP.
So now we have the Baron here. Let's see if they want to go 4 members to the mid lane or 5 members, or they want to split out now. Nukeduck already going out up towards this top lane here. A good big wave coming so they can get some... They can actually kill this turret fairly easily because the party is not even close.
Yeah, that inner turret's going to go down. They're going to continue rotating on. There's a big wave in the middle. There's a big wave at the top, and NIP are interested in this one. Zorozero is pushing that mid wave, and of course, with that Baron up, this is perfect siege opportunity. But again, Ziggs, bombs go down, mine goes down, and more importantly, they've let Nick farm for so long that he's actually got a ton of ability power. If I look at him right now, I can see he's got just shy of 600 ability power. That wave's got no problem. They're going to have to siege and push on one of these turrets.
Yeah, he's just destroying the wave every time, so that's where we need to see NIP. We talked about it before, going in 1-3-1, or at least a four people in the mid lane, have one guy split pushing who can then win in this 1v1 scenario, or of course go all 5 members of land the hook, land the charm, but that requires the party to actually make a mistake and stay too far out from the turret, because Nick, of course, he can just stay very far back, constantly wave clearing, so he's never going to be in danger of actually being hooked or charmed.
Blue buff will be picked up by Nick, and that's the first time in a long time, so he's going to be happy with that. The cooldown, of course, very vital for his Mega Inferno bomb. Nukeduck going to take his own blue buff. No surprises there. He's been doing that for a long time, and let's see how they do with this Baron.
Look what they're doing here now. Nukeduck going up to the top lane. We already have Zorozero in the bot lane, and then of course with 3 members, Freeze, Hulberto and Mithy in the mid lane here, we're gonna see the 1-3-1, so they can now push up every single lane. You see Lucian actually, he was up in the top lane, instantly just backs off because he's not gonna take any chances. And now every single lane gonna be pushing down. Let's see how Departed decides to try and handle this one. Of course, the Ziggs ultimate can be thrown to a lane to clear the wave, and then he can also stay in the mid lane by himself. But that's just a matter of time before NIP gets towards the turret in one of the lanes.
Well, they pop the Banshees of Hulberto. We do see Ziggs in that top lane. He's the only one that's going to be keeping those minions away, and they're going to try and start something off. Instead, the Dark Binding goes through, it doesn't land. They do keep that vision down there. Nick's continuing to stay very deep away from this one. Doesn't get too close to Nukeduck, and why is he so? Down the bottom lane, well, Freeze is actually getting some damage on towards his mid turret. Has got a wave in there, but again, Ziggs comes up, bombs go out, mine goes down. They're going to slowly but surely get poke on it, but it is going to take them longer than this Baron buff is going to allow.
Yeah, it's going to take a long time for NIP with this kind of tempo to actually get down the turrets, but they're doing the right thing. They're forcing Ziggs to move around the lanes, getting at least 1 or 2 hits onto the turret every single time. There's the Lantern as well from Mithy. There's the Mikhails in case someone should catch Freeze, let's say the binding, and he can then be safe. But Nukeduck now actually getting a lot of good damage here.
That was great damage. They were way too slow to react to that one, and that may buy them time. Kikis getting caught out, and the stand aside was being used by Freeze, and that's bouncing him around. They're just simply buying time for this top lane. Meanwhile, down the bottom, the 2 top laners are going at it, and Babunia is keeping Freeze away, but that top turret is where the focus needs to be, and it's going to be Nukeduck that keeps on poking. Just stands off at the edge here, tries to get himself some advantage, uses the sweeping lens, keeps the vision away from Nick.
But Nick's still doing a very good job just wave playing all the time, staying safe. But NIP now in this mid lane want to get some damage, backing off now, wave is coming in, and all 5 members from Departed are here.
Oh, that Baron buff is continuing to take
look at
down.
that damage.
They do get a good crit burst on Woolite. That forces him away. This may be the time when they push through, but remember that Mega Inferno Bomb is still available. The top wave is pushing itself out right now, so this is actually the only area they need to focus. Nukeduck's going to look. He's maybe going to go towards Kikis. Instead, the middle turret is going to get focused. All 5 members of NIP come around. They finally take the Indian turret down. Now Perm manages to go focus on. That's going to be a jump. Hulberto gets the reset, jumps away. Nukeduck comes in. That's going to be Woolite going down. Nick's going to get caught out. Babunia is going to try and caught down. They do finally collapse on towards him. There's the death sentence hook. Babunia goes down. It's a 4-for-0, and Ninjas in Pyjamas look like they can finally close the game.
Yeah, so turret went down, and then NIP just instantly went for Departed, won the team fight. They were so far ahead, and they will be able to finish this game.
It will be NIP taking game 1. Remember, this is a best-of-3 series, though, but it has been a dominant, confident performance in game 1 by Ninjas in Pyjamas. More importantly, Nukeduck taunting his opponents there. 9-1-2 overall. Fantastic performance by him. Does take the laser at the end. Went a little bit too early on that one. Does manage to die and give a double kill to Kikis, but that doesn't count because the Nexus goes down and NIP take the victory.
So NIP, a bit of a shaky early game. Kikis had some very good ganks. Departed also took the blue buff from them, so Departed had some very good ganks early on, had a very good start in laning phases, but then NIP turned it around with the counter gang in mid lane, and of course Freeze and Mithy together being a very strong dual lane on this Draven, of course. And then once we actually got to the mid game point, and NIP just decided to slow down, too slow. They did absolutely nothing for a long while. They were so far ahead, they could have split out before. They didn't even need the Baron buff to do what they actually did here in the end. They could have done it before. So it was just too slow by them, but honestly, I think they were just playing it very safe. They didn't want to risk anything. They wanted this Baron buff, and that's why when they finally picked it up, nobody from the Departed was nearby, and that's why they didn't back out for once.
Oh, and ironically, we didn't actually get to see the Mega Inferno Bomb, I don't think, until like they were literally on the tower. So he just held the trigger way too long on that.
Yeah, but you also saw NIP in the end just saying, we don't even need the minions. Go in, get a few hits. Zorozero actually rotated in with the team in the mid lane, tanked the turret a few times, and then Freeze got some hits on the turret. So all in all, very slow game in the end after a very aggressive start actually for both teams, and simply just meant NIP were ahead. Departed tried to do what they could. They tried to farm up, get everything they needed here, but it just wasn't enough.
Well, at the moment, we are just waiting for game 2 to get underway. Of course, they're going to take themselves a little bit of a break themselves, but what have Departed got to do? They're going to get into game 2 here. Clearly didn't work out well for them. Pretty sure we're going to see an Ahri ban, because that certainly didn't work out well for them. Who knows? You never know. Once he got going, and you got to wonder, because it was all about that triple kill down that bottom lane.
Yeah, I don't think Ahri itself was the issue. It was more the fact that he managed to pick up a triple kill early on. Got so far ahead, got a very early DFG, of course, with it. So, honestly, I don't think they have to ban their way. The bans were fine. They managed to get Lulu and LeBlanc away from Nukeduck. It really showed clearly they want to make sure he can't get these assassins and picking Ahri instead. But for them, if they can do the same thing they did early on here, Kikis very good ganks early, pick the Ziggs again, get some control and just not give up this. Actually, I'm just going to say, they're not going to give up this triple kill down in the bot lane. It was the thing that turned the whole game around and put NIP so far ahead.
Well, they started off well. We'll see how it turns out. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we return, game 2 between Departed and Ninjas in Pyjamas will take place. And just like the Super Hot Crew, you're going to want to stick around for the Challenger Series Finals.